You know a country has an identity crisis when its airport has more five-star reviews than its parliament. Welcome to Singapore, the world's most luxurious layover lounge disguised as a nation. Every tourist says it. Wow, Changi Airport is so amazing, and that's already the red flag. Because when the airport is the most exciting part of your country, maybe the whole country is still waiting to board something. Here's the irony. Singapore markets itself as the future of Asia, but its brand is literally transit. You land, you shop, you post an Instagram story about Jules Waterfall, then you leave. No one dreams of spending their life in Singapore. They dream of passing through it efficiently, like a human QR code. And the locals know it too. Every Singaporean I've met abroad introduces themselves like a stopover itinerary. Oh, I'm from Singapore. Just a small city lah. Very safe, very clean, very expensive. Haha. That's not an introduction. That's an apology with Wi-Fi. Even the government subtly agrees. The city has built an identity on efficiency, not emotion. You can get a housing loan faster than you can get a genuine smile. You can register a company in 10 minutes, but try getting someone to express affection. That's a 10-year waiting list. And here's where it gets juicy. While Singapore looks perfect from 30,000 feet, the closer you get, the more it feels like a five-star waiting room, where everyone's polite, no one's relaxed, and everyone secretly wants to board a flight out. So let's find out today, is Singapore a real country, or just the world's most successful airport lounge with a flag? Let's be honest. Most countries brag about their history, culture, or military victories. Singapore brags about its airport. You know what that means? You've reached peak efficiency civilization, when your strongest symbol of national pride is a terminal, not a temple, not a mountain, not a revolution, but a place specifically designed for people to leave. Changi Airport is so iconic that it accidentally became the country's personality. Think about it. You can swim in a rooftop pool, eat Michelin-rated laksa, and watch butterflies inside a greenhouse, all before immigration. Meanwhile, most cities are still trying to figure out how to keep their public toilets from smelling like regret. But here's the question nobody asks. If your airport is the highlight, what does that say about what comes after it? It's like going on a date where the restaurant lobby is stunning, but once you sit down, you realize the waiter is your therapist, the lights are fluorescent, and the bill is $300 for emotional labor. Tourists arrive expecting utopia, and to be fair, Singapore delivers that illusion. You get ultra-clean streets, no chewing gum, and people who actually queue for the bus. But there's something unsettling beneath the perfection, a kind of corporate silence. The air smells of air conditioning and obedience. Even the locals subconsciously treat Changi as a national spa, the only place they can breathe freely, because ironically, it's the one spot designed for departure. It's not a coincidence that so many Singaporeans love traveling. Leaving the country is their national hobby, not because they hate home, but because home is too perfect to feel alive in. So yes, the airport is amazing. But when your biggest landmark encourages people to leave faster, you might not be running a country. You might be managing a five-star exit strategy. Singapore is the only place on earth where efficiency feels emotional. The traffic lights are punctual, the trains apologize, and even the escalators sound like they have management degrees. Everything works too well. But here's the paradox. When everything works flawlessly, you start wondering what living even means. Efficiency in Singapore isn't just a virtue, it's a religion. The city worships predictability like a god. Want to get a business license? Done in 15 minutes. Want to get spontaneous human warmth? That's still in beta testing. Singaporeans don't rebel. They submit politely, in triplicate form with government approval. They don't waste time arguing because even their complaints follow SOP. When they say everything is under control, they really mean nothing is out of control enough to be interesting. And that's the problem. A perfectly managed society slowly loses its pulse. No chaos, No failure, no surprise, just silent success. It's like living inside Microsoft Excel, perfectly formatted, but no soul. Even love feels like a KPI. Dating apps ask for your income, your CPF balance, your HDB eligibility, not your favorite song. Romance in Singapore has been converted into a financial algorithm. Love, or stable job x citizenship. Emotional risk. And that's the hidden cost of efficiency. When everything is optimized, life becomes a spreadsheet, people become statistics, and the only unpredictable thing left is boredom. That's why so many Singaporeans escape to Bangkok or Bali every long weekend. They crave malfunction. They want traffic jams, messy food stalls, the thrill of being cheated for once, because imperfection feels human. Singapore is proof that a system can be too perfect to love. When your city feels like a software update, people stop living and start buffering. Singapore is the only country where emotional safety and national safety got confused in translation. Everything's protected, your body, your wallet, your data, except your soul. The city's #1 export isn't electronics or finance, it's stability. But here's the tragicomic twist. In the pursuit of safety, Singapore accidentally performed an emotional lobotomy on itself. When life is designed to avoid risk, people stop taking chances, not just in business, but in being human. No shouting, no passion, no heartbreak, because that might be inefficient. So everyone smiles like a well-trained chatbot, saying can, cannot, and see how first. It's emotional minimalism made into a language. People live long, earn well, and feel nothing. It's not that Singaporeans are unhappy, they're simply numb. Every emotion has been processed, taxed, and politely sterilized. Even sadness requires a permit. Try crying in public. People will assume you lost your phone, not your faith in existence. And relationships. Love in Singapore feels like a property co-investment. Two people apply for a government-subsidized apartment, then learn to love each other during the down payment. By the time the flat is built, the romance has expired, but at least the interest rate is stable. Safety comes with a quiet price, apathy. When there's no danger, there's no adventure. When there's no failure, there's no story. You're safe, yes, but safe like a museum exhibit behind glass. Singaporeans are some of the smartest, most capable people in Asia, but emotionally, they've been trained to stay in economy class. You can't crash if you never take off. And that's the irony. Singapore built one of the safest societies on earth and ended up making danger the last forbidden luxury. Welcome to Singapore, where everything looks authentic until you touch it. This is the only country where even chaos is carefully regulated. Street art comes with a license. Hawker stores undergo hygiene inspections more strict than some hospitals. And every hidden gem cafe is conveniently sponsored by a government grant. Singapore feels less like a nation and more like a corporate theme park built to impress investors who mistake air conditioning for culture. You don't live in Singapore. You check in like a guest at a perfectly managed hotel that's allergic to surprises. Even tourism here is reverse engineered. You're told where to be amazed. Marina Bay Sands, Gardens by the Bay, Jewel, Sentosa. Everything is photogenic, symmetrical, and slightly overpriced, like a lifestyle PowerPoint slide. You want grit? Sorry, that's in Bangkok. You want romance? Try Paris. You want meaning? The nearest available flight is Bali, boarding now at gate C23. What makes Singapore unique is how self-aware it is about being artificial, and yet it doesn't care. The people wear the uniform of prosperity, branded sneakers, pastel Uniqlo, an iPhone that costs a month's rent. It's modern feudalism with free Wi-Fi. And the corporate structure runs deep. The government operates like a boardroom. Citizens are shareholders. Dissent is bad for business. Every speech sounds like a quarterly report. Growth remains stable. Risks are contained. Please clap. It's efficient, it's clean, it's safe. And that's exactly the problem. Because somewhere between no littering and no chewing gum, Singapore lost the one thing that makes a city lovable: its mess. It's hard to fall in love with a place that's allergic to mistakes. You can admire Singapore, you can invest in it, but can you miss it? That's the million-dollar question. And like everything else in Singapore, you'll need to apply online to answer it. Here's a secret few Singaporeans will say out loud. They don't live in Singapore. They subscribe to it. Think about it. Your apartment? Technically a 99-year lease. Your car? A 10-year certificate of entitlement. Even your life plan? A renewable contract with the government, reviewed every election cycle. Singapore has turned existence into a membership model. You don't belong. You rent your right to exist. And that's what happens when a nation becomes a brand. Singapore doesn't sell belonging, it sells confidence. It's not home. It's a luxury product with terms and conditions. You don't say, I'm from Singapore. You say, I'm currently based in Singapore, as if you're a tech startup waiting for Series B funding. Even patriotism here feels like a corporate training video. We are united, innovative, and future ready. It's the kind of line you'd expect from a PowerPoint deck, not a poem. The result? Singaporeans grow up identifying not with their culture, but with their functionality. You're valued for your compliance, not your conviction. You're rewarded for being reliable, not remarkable. There's a quiet loneliness in that, a subtle alienation that money can't mask. People are proud of their skyline, but unsure of their soul. They defend Singapore fiercely, yet daydream about escaping it. And foreigners sense it too. Expats call Singapore Asia for beginners. Digital nomads call it Wi-Fi with taxes. Everyone loves the comfort, but nobody writes poetry about it. A brand can impress you. A home should embrace you. And that's the fundamental tragedy. Singapore mastered the art of being admired, but never learned how to be loved. Because when everything is for rent, property, cars, and even national pride, what happens when the lease on identity runs out? Here's the ultimate Singaporean paradox. Success means leaving the country that made you successful. Every high-achieving Singaporean dreams of the same things: studying overseas, working overseas, retiring overseas. It's like the entire education system is one big conveyor belt, built to export perfectly efficient citizens who never come back. Parents proudly say, "My son works in New York now." No one asks why their son couldn't stand living in the city that raised him. Because deep down, Singaporeans know the system doesn't make space for breathing, only performing. You can climb every corporate ladder, earn every CPF bonus, buy every branded thing, and still feel like a guest in your own life. That's why Changi Airport isn't just infrastructure, it's therapy. Every departure gate whispers freedom. Every boarding pass feels like a confession. Singaporeans don't travel for sightseeing. They travel to remember what spontaneity feels like. Even the government kind of knows this. Every campaign to stay, work, and play in Singapore sounds like an HR memo from someone who suspects half the staff is job hunting abroad. The irony is poetic. Singapore exports people who succeed because of the discipline they learned at home. Then they use that discipline to build lives elsewhere. And when they return for holidays, they marvel. Wow, Singapore changed so much. No, it didn't. You did. You outgrew the waiting room. You realized that stability without freedom is just a comfortable kind of suffocation. Singapore is the world's safest runway, beautifully built, endlessly admired, but meant for takeoff. And maybe that's what Singapore truly is. Not a country, not a culture, but a launch pad, a place designed for you to leave well. So yes, everyone leaves, and proudly calls it success. Because in the world's greatest stopover, staying too long feels like missing your flight. So after all this, maybe Singapore isn't a fake country. Maybe it's the prototype of the future, a world where nations run like corporations, Citizens act like clients, and happiness is measured in GDP per air conditioner. It's not that Singapore failed to become a real country. It's that the rest of us haven't caught up to this terrifying idea yet. Think about it. No poverty, no riots, no chaos, but also no pulse. Singapore built paradise and then removed the part where people feel alive inside it. It's a place that conquered corruption but couldn't conquer emptiness. A city so clean it sterilized its own soul. A country that works perfectly for everyone passing through. That's the paradox, isn't it? The world loves Singapore because it's efficient, safe, and polite, the same way we love robots until they replace us. Maybe Singapore is the future we all secretly fear, a world without mistakes, without emotion, without mess, just beautiful silence humming under fluorescent perfection. And yet, we admire it, because deep down, we all want to live like that, perfectly organized, forever stable, quietly miserable. So tell me, when a country is so flawless that even its chaos has been scheduled, is that progress or the end of humanity's creative spark? And if Singapore is just a stopover, not a destination, then maybe that's the whole point. Because in this global airport called modern life, we're all just passengers, waiting for a flight to somewhere that finally feels real.